I'm not going to talk to 50 people, but I am going to walk away with 3 to 5 great connections that either I can serve or I can introduce to someone who probably needs their service. That's a better mindset, it's a better attitude, and it probably is going to give you a better result. Do you agree?
110%. And mindset's everything. It's just like, it reminds me of my son trying to try a new food. It's just like, go into it thinking it's going to be delicious.
It's going to be nasty. Yeah, but of course it is, right? Yeah, for sure. Welcome to the Sold Out Sales Podcast, the podcast that will equip both the seasoned sales professional and the more reluctant seller with mindset shifts and strategies needed to succeed in a competitive marketplace. Hello there. We're back for the Sold Out Sales Podcast, and I want to tell you the question I get probably daily, but at least weekly. People ask me, how can they network more efficiently? For those of y'all who don't know, I literally wrote the book. It's called Networking is Not a One-Night Stand. And I'm a firm believer that you can use networking as the entry point to your sales process. I'm not a huge fan. Okay, go with me on this. I don't love all of the social networking. It's great, it's fun, and I do it sometimes. You know, you don't find me at a lot of like happy hours and things like that, just because the focus sometimes gets a little off. For me, again, to each their own. I love a networking event where I can engage with people that I actually want to get to know better. I can utilize that networking event as a point of contact to take into a different, another conversation offsite or online. And I really want to have the time to really have conversations. So there's very specific types of networking events that I prefer to go to, and I encourage my clients to do so because I want you to be able to network better. I don't want you wasting time all week, all month, hopping back and forth to networking events all willy-nilly, only to look at your bottom line at the end of your month, at the end of your quarter, and wonder where all the money went, and wonder why networking isn't working. So this is something we've talked about before. We will talk about again because I feel so passionately about it. And I want to make sure that if you're going to network, you're networking in a way that's really profitable for your business. So the first thing I want you to ask yourself actually, is what is the purpose of attending the networking event? Whether it's an association or a group that you belong to that you pay for monthly or yearly, and the part of your responsibility to that organization is to show up every month to a breakfast or a luncheon. Even if you're a part of that organization, I still want you to ask yourself every month or every week, depending on what the frequency is of your time that you attend those events, what is the purpose for this event? Why am I attending? What is the result that I want to walk away with? Because I think that's where we drop the ball so often, is that we just go blindly because someone told us to be there, right? It's part of our membership, and they say you need to be at this event every week or every month or whatever, and you need to bring so many referrals and all of those things, right? And that's great. But what if you took it from a different perspective? What if you looked at it as part of your sales process and actually developed a plan for the way that you network and the way that you engage with people every single week, every single month, every time you attend these events? I look at it as a game. So I was an athlete, right? I played basketball in school and I raised 3 boys and I'm married to a football guy, so I love sports. And so I consider it your pre-game routine, your game routine, and then your post-game routine, because all of it matters. And if you miss any part of it, and you think about it from an athlete's perspective, if you miss practice, you're not going to play well. If you don't show up to the game, you can't win, obviously, right? And then afterwards, if you don't, recover appropriately and all of the things that go along with that, you're going to minimize the gains that you could have gotten. If you don't go back and look at the game and see what could you have done better, right? So there is a purpose for every aspect of the way that you're networking. And the first thing you need to figure out is, what's the purpose? Am I going to meet people? Am I going to meet a certain amount of people? And when I meet them, what am I going to do? What is the purpose of my engagement with these people? So I know someone who is, as a matter of fact, I've met Taylor at a networking event. I know that she's a master networker, and she and I have been in many groups together. And so Taylor, tell me, when you're going to an event, what are some of the things that are crossing your mind even the ones that you go to every single month or even more frequently, what's some of the things that you're really wanting to get out of those events?
Yeah, well, first of all, if it's a new event, I want to see who's in the room. It's always great if they have a registration list ahead of time. Alignable's really good at doing that. And so you could pinpoint, those are people I want to see. Yeah. Now, if it's a room that I'm used to being in, it's who are those people I want to make sure I reconnect with. Right. It's who are those people I know. So similar idea, but with a little bit different, context of whom is it that I want to ask about the last conversation we had. And so I like you. I tend to like groups where I really have time to build connections, a little less of the social aspect. Yeah. And then a lot of networking organizations, you also have the opportunity to learn and meet other subject matter experts. And so that's a great aspect to it.
Yeah. I mean, all of those things are important. And, for you, it might be even something different. But have a purpose, have a plan, right? Make sure that you're going with intention. That's the word of the day, intention, intentionality. And I want to even talk to those of you all who are listening but might be saying, oh my God, networking is draining. There's so many people and I don't like talking to strangers. I've heard it a million times. Well, guess what? I am your high-performing introvert, so I get it. And I absolutely have had to train, if you will, myself, really practice how to network in a way that works for me, that feels good to me, that doesn't burn me out, because networking can burn me out also, right? So I have a gift for you today. I want you to go to tishtimes.com and click on the Easy Sales and Networking Handbook, because it's especially for introverts. And it's on the website, it's free for you, and it'll give you a few tips, especially if you're kind of saying, yeah, that feels like a lot. It's overwhelming. I have some tips for you in that handbook that'll be helpful for you to overcome all of the anxiety that may come along with networking, and give you a few ideas of things that you can do differently. So I don't want you to waste time, like we just talked about, at events where there's a speaker. And I love learning at an event. But you sit in front of a speaker, you talk to no one, and then you go home, right? So if you can, get to that networking event a little bit early. You want to take advantage of that pre-speaking, before the speaker gets up, that networking that happens in advance, if at all possible. If you're able to, maybe you want to hang out a little bit afterwards, but once again, with an intention. So if you're going to an event where there's a membership roster, if you are a member, then you should be able to access that and find out who's going to be there. Who are the guests that are going to be in that room that I want to make sure that I meet? If you're not a member, I recommend that you find a member and ask them. Say, hey, Taylor, I'm coming to that event that you're a member of. I would love to meet a few new people. Would you be willing to maybe introduce me to 2 or 3 people so I'm not in the room by myself? I promise you they will, right? Have you ever had that happen to you?
All the time. Yeah. All the time if I'm in a new room. Because normally you're in a new room because someone invited you. Yes. And so that's a great opportunity. And similar to a referral, a soft introduction, it makes it so warm and welcoming. And most of the time, people want to feed into others and let them feel welcome and bring them into the community.
Absolutely. Because, everyone, it's like you're having a party, right? Yeah. I don't want you to come to my party and be bored. Right. I don't want you to come to my party and stand in the corner by yourself. I want you to come and feel like you're a part of the group. So people will do that. Another way to find events, even if you're not invited, because most of the times I find out about an event because there's a member or someone that I know, but every now and then I go to Eventbrite or one of those types of sites and figure out that there's a place that I can go hang out that I've not been before. Well, the person or the organizer who posted that event, generally their contact information is on that site. And so I would reach out directly to that event organizer. Organizer, is that right? Organizer. And ask them, I'm new. How can I best really, maximize my time at this event? And let them tell you and ask them, hey, if you're going to be there, would you be willing to maybe make a few connections for me? Because they'd also be willing to do that as well. So just make sure that you're prepared, you have a plan, and most importantly, that you go with your sights set on a few people that you really want to engage with. Now, let me caution you, because this has happened to me. Let me caution you, do not go into that room with the intention of selling your stuff. Do not walk into that room with a bag full of your lipsticks. Don't walk into that room with all of your sales brochures that you're going to hand out, because that's the fastest way to turn off people, especially if you're meeting them for the first time. So you want to go with the intention of engaging with new people and letting people, getting to know people and letting people get to know you as well. The conversations that happen afterwards are where the gold is. Every now and then, and it's only happened to me a few times, but it has happened, where someone goes, oh my God, I've been looking for someone who does that. Can I work with you? And when that happens, that's like, yay, that's amazing. But the likelihood of that happening is very low, because people want to know, they want to work with people that they know, that they trust, that they've been referred to, or something of that nature. So you want to go with the intention of meeting people, but not with the intention of selling your things, right? Because that's where you more than likely are going to, have problems. So what's your pregame routine? Are you going to that site in advance? Are you figuring out who might be in the room? Are you trying to make some of those connections so that you can know who you want to meet with? Are you reaching out to the coordinator? Are you reaching out to someone who's a part of the organization? This is the thing that I believe, whether we call ourselves salespeople or not, we're all in sales. If you're a business owner or if you're a part of an organization, we get a little lazy. And I say that because people will say things like, how am I supposed to figure that out? Guess what? There's a lot of information on the internet. There's a lot of information. People are posting on social all the time about the events that they're going to be attending, especially if they're a host or a sponsor or a speaker. And guess what? Those are the people you should probably be wanting to connect with, because they're already showing you that they're all in, and they're probably investing because they want to be well known in their market as well. So doing that research is going to be huge for you. Have you ever gone to a networking event or a conference and found that although you made great connections and you walked away with a stack full of business cards, you still didn't have a real plan for how to get a good return on your investment of both time and money? Well, let me tell you, having a networking and sales planner is a way for you to be more intentional about the way that you network.
Hey, I'm Susan Gladstein. I'm a functional nutrition and metabolism specialist, and I got connected with Tish because she is a rock star at systems and sales, and so I downloaded the planner to help get my brain organized as I went through a rebrand and launched a new course. And it's really helped me sort of get things out of my head and onto paper so that I can actually do follow-ups and not just rely on my brain. So far it's rocking my world and making my business systems that were non-existent actually have some sort of structure. So I love it. It's amazing. And I'm so grateful that our paths have crossed.
I've been working with sales professionals for almost 15 years. And one of the things that I find is that when they don't have a plan, they do nothing. They sit at their desk and wonder what to do. Well, with this networking and sales planner, you have profit producing activities for every single day of the week. It tells you where to go, what to say, even gives you prompts as to how to interact with people that you don't know. If you're an introvert and you feel like this isn't for you, I have already thought of you, because I understand exactly how introverts think. So this gives you the tools enabling you to be armed with words, with language, so that you can make your networking more profitable.
Hey everyone, Rachel Neighbors here from solo401k.com. And I wanted to take a moment to talk about how awesome this sales networking planner is that Tish put out. So as you can see, I have it on my Remarkable. That's my sort of e-ink planner. And this sales planner has been so helpful for me. So I'm an old school pay-per-click marketer. I do Google ads, Facebook ads, and I know how to turn advertising into profit. But I didn't know how to turn network sales into profit. And when I met Tish, this woman literally wrote the book on networking called, Networking is Not a One-Night Stand. And she's put that experience and that energy and those valuable tips into this networking sales planner. And I just think that it can be so powerful for you in your business. I know it's been really helpful for me and mine. One thing that Tish told me is, Rachel, when you meet someone, put them into your planner and then follow up with them like they're a lead that you've generated on Google Ads or that you followed up with or that you've generated on Facebook. And that has been so helpful and transformative in my business. So thank you, Tish, for this awesome planner.
Maybe you don't even like networking. You say things like, networking doesn't work. Well, let me tell you, when you have a plan in place, you have some intention, and you have the tools to be able to make it work, you will see a different result. My new networking and sales planner is a game changer. It's the difference between you going to an event, wandering around and walking away without any purpose and without any new money, and walking into an event with a plan, with a purpose, and being able to convert new clients into your business. No one wants to feel inauthentic and pushy or even salesy when following up. So frequently we just don't do it at all. Well, the profitable follow-up formula, which is in the back of your networking and sales planner, will give you the tools and the language and the frequency with which you should be following up so that it feels very authentic. It feels genuine and natural both to you and to the people that you're reaching out to. Go to tishtimes.com/planner to get your digital or physical version of your planner.
Hi, my name is Cheryl James from CL James Consulting, and I just want to tell you a little bit about how awesome this networking sales planner is. I started intentionally networking at the beginning of this year, and I have been using my planner on a regular basis, not only to get inspiration, but to track the people I want to meet and the people I have met, and to make sure that I follow up with them from week to week. So if you are looking to network intentionally and hold yourself accountable, this planner is a must-have.
And once you get your planner, you'll also receive a video series that's going to teach you how to maximize your networking and how to use this planner to get the best result and best return on your investment of both time and money. If you are ready to stop wasting time with networking and turn your networking into a sales machine, then go to tishtimes.com/planner and grab your networking and sales planner. And then I want you to think about this. Can you see success in your mind? Because before it happens in the room, it happens in your mind, right? It happens in your mindset. Because if you walk into that room, you walk into that online, you show up in that online Zoom room, or you walk into a physical networking event or conference, and your thought process is, here we go, I hate networking, it never works. Why am I doing this again? Well, guess what? It never works. Why are you doing this again? Because you have already said
it. Yeah.
You've created your experience, right?
Yeah.
But if you would go in with, okay, I'm here to meet 3 to 5 people, and I want to make deep connections. I'm not here to meet every person in the room. I'm not going to talk to 50 people, but I am going to walk away with 3 to 5 great connections that either I can serve or I can introduce to someone who probably needs their service. That's a better mindset. It's a better attitude, and it probably is going to give you a better result. Do you agree?
110%. And mindset's everything. It's just like, it reminds me of my son trying to try a new food. It's just like, go into it thinking it's going to be delicious.
It's going to be nasty. Yeah, but of course it is, right? Yeah, for sure. So it's like set the intention before you walk into the room. And so, and there's nothing wrong with asking for the list of attendees. Many times, believe it or not, there's a way when people place their events on Facebook, for instance, the event coordinator has to check a box that says they do not want the list of attendees to be listed. And if they don't check that box, every person who's RSVP'd is going to be on that list. Mm-hmm. So you have your list of people to, at the very least, know you want to connect with, and even sometimes want to reach out to them in advance. My whole thing is when I'm going to a conference, I want to set my calendar up for success. So I'm going to be reaching out to people that have already said they're going to be at that event, and I might say to them, hey, Mary, I see that you're going to the WPO event out in San Antonio this year. I'm going to be there. I would love to grab some coffee with you before the event starts. I'd love to be able to take you to dinner once while we're there. Those things are golden, and we just did this. I just came back from an event with a client, and we created some of those types of interactions, and they were so well worth it. Some of the best connections happen not in the event itself, but those breakfast meetings, those dinner sessions that we had separate from the actual conference agenda. So make sure that you're doing the advanced research and then making the most of your time while you're there, right? The other thing is, not only are you looking for who's going to be there, you need to be announcing your participation. You need to be saying, hey guys, I'm going to the NABO conference in Washington, D.C. Who's going to be there, right? That's a great post. And if you're going to be a speaker, all the more. You need to be putting your, the content out there and sharing your information with other people, because then people who want to hear what you're going to be talking about are going to be, saying, oh my God, I want to be there. But that's a great way when they raise their hand and say, I'm going. That's a great way for you to say, I would love to have a little, powwow. Maybe we'll get 4 or 5 people together and grab some dinner afterwards or something like that. It is the best way to connect at an event. And like I said before, people are already gathering your ideal clients for you. Why not take advantage of that in the best way, right? And both go to contribute and go to connect, because that's going to be the great way that you show up. Now, I'm going to talk about something, and I'd love to hear your take on this, Taylor, because this is an interesting new topic that I'm seeing when I go to an event. And someone says, hey, do you have a business card? So frequently now people go, no, this is 2020, 2025 or whatever. Or they say, yeah, I have a digital one. Mm-hmm. Or I even heard someone say, I don't carry cards anymore. So what are your thoughts around cards, no cards? How do you get contact information for people online? Do you think it even matters?
I'm a very old school person at heart. I still love a good pen and paper. I still personally have business cards. Yep. My business cards are those thick ones, those ones that you really feel it and things. So I feel like if you're going to have a card, you need to have a card that when they feel it, they can feel it's something. You can feel it's a card. It's something you're really going to want to hold on to. Yeah. For me personally, I still ask for a card. Yeah. Because that's something I could physically hold on to. It's going to remind me even more so to follow up within the first 24 hours, because that's also a key that I must do within the first 24 hours. The digital ones, I'll still take it. I'll still send a quick message like that instant. Mm-hmm. I don't feel like I get the same response per se. I feel like with those, I end up having to search for them on different social platforms. That's when the engagement actually happens. Yeah. Oh, they're really active on Instagram. Okay, now we're DMing. Yeah. Oh, they're really active on LinkedIn. Now we're messaging on LinkedIn. So it's also just the people who are digital are digital.
Oh, for sure.
So that's something to keep in mind.
That's so good. Because look, I'm like you, and I invest in my business cards. I got the painted edge. So if they're going to get a card from me, they're going to remember that card. And let me just share something with you. We're going to talk a little bit about the generations that are in the marketplace right now. Those who are digital, you're right, they're all digital, and that's completely fine. But let me tell you, for those of you all who are only using digital, if you're handing off your digital card to someone who's maybe not in that mindset, let me tell you what happens. You give them the digital card, it shows up on their phone right away, and then it goes into outer space. Mm-hmm. Because then I got to remember your name to go search for you in my contacts. Yes, your name shows up in my contacts, but if I don't remember your name, we will never talk again. That's just the honest to God truth. We will never talk again. And so I'll give you a quick tip. This is what I do. When someone gives me a digital card, I do prefer a physical one as well. But if someone gives me a digital card, the moment they send it to me, I automatically take a screenshot. Mm. Because if I don't take a screenshot, you and I never met. I will never remember your name again, unless you made a really big impact for somehow, in some way, shape, or form. So keep that in mind. You got to not only think about how you operate, but think about how the person who's receiving your information is going to want to receive it. Mm-hmm. So I have all three. What I mean by that is I have a digital card for those who only want digital. I always have a stack of business cards because that's how I roll. But then I also always have a way to either scan or get connected with someone like on LinkedIn. If they're like, I don't even do the whole card thing. We're on social. Why do I need a business card? That kind of behavior. I have all of those, but just know that not everyone else is going to think that way. And if you're thinking, oh my God, I had this great interaction with the CEO of XYZ big company, and they're going to reach out to me because I gave them my digital card, sweetheart, you better get on your game, because that's probably not going to happen. So just keep that in mind, right? Now, this is going to be part one. I'm going to tell you now, because we have so many things that we need to cover as it just pertains to networking. But this is just the pre right now. And, when you're doing those initial engagements. Now, when you walk into the room, right, and you're actually there, when I say walk into the room, that might mean slide into your office chair and you're in a virtual room as well. But don't be that person who's sitting at the table by themselves. Don't be that person who's staring at their own phone in the Zoom room. Don't be that person who has their camera off the whole time because you're multitasking. Now, sometimes that has to happen, and I get it, because you've committed to something and you really want to get the information. But the person who's not engaged is the person who gives off the vibes that I don't want to connect with you. And so you want to ensure that if at all possible, if you're going to show up fully. Be ready to be fully engaged and be really fully ready to give as well. Because if you're the person who shows up very obviously just wanting to receive, you're like, I'm here. And then the moment someone says, okay, now you can introduce yourself to someone, you're like, okay, my turn. I get a chance to talk about me. That gives off bad vibes. And you don't want to be that person. I'm going to encourage you to do this. Take some time, implement the things that we've talked about thus far, and then keep an eye out because we are going to do part 2 to networking better. Because remember, networking can be the entry point to your sales process. And if you're doing it poorly, the likelihood is very high that you're not seeing the numbers on the back end as a result of your networking. The thing I want to talk to you about on our next conversation is how are you monitoring the metrics that are happening as a result of your networking. If you're not putting those things in place, the likelihood is you probably don't know how much of your income is coming from networking. And more importantly, you may not know what of an impact is happening on your bottom line because you're not monitoring the right things in your metrics. We'll talk about that next time. I'd love to hear what you've gotten from this particular episode and come back for part 2 of Networking Better. Go implement something you learned today, and I'll see you next week. Thanks for listening to the Sold Out Sales Podcast. I would be so appreciative if you would show me and my amazing guests some love by leaving a review on your favorite podcasting platform. Also, go over to tishtimes.com/resource page and make sure you pick up your sales and networking handbook, especially for introverts. Also, I'd love to continue this conversation, so make sure you connect with me on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. I'll see you back here next week.